What's up, guys? Jason up, New Age Revolution, back down here in the cave for another exciting episode of Whatever Happened To. That's right, where you and I hang out and we talk about the things, the feelings, the stuff, the food, the toys, the everything, the way of life that existed back in the day, back in the 80s, back when we were kids. The stuff that is so near and dear to our hearts and just doesn't seem to have the same impact today. And in some cases doesn't exist at all. That's right. Whatever happened to? Tonight we discuss something that I know we're going to have a lot to talk about. Whatever happened to Saturday morning cartoons? Hey guys, that's right. Saturday morning cartoons, probably probably more of a staple than anything else in our lives as 80s kids. Were Saturday morning cartoons. I mean, I can't really think of anything else that would have been more of a constant in our entertainment life, right? And I think it was pretty universal. I think it was every kid. I don't think you had 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds running around going, I don't really like cartoons in the morning. Now, I don't think that was ever a thing, right? There are kids who, like certain toys. There are kids who like certain sports. There are definitely kids who like certain TV shows. But every kid. I'm going to go out on a limb and say every kid enjoyed the Saturday mornings because of the TV schedule from 6 a.m. until probably noon, and it's gone. And I was thinking the other day, like, when did it leave? When did Saturday morning cartoons fade out? And I don't know. I came up with some unresearched thoughts. I didn't look these up, so I don't know if they're factual, but I feel like they might be, like, kind of around the turn of the decade, of course, when everything went south. The 90s. I'm sure we had plenty of Saturday morning cartoons in the 90s. In fact, we can confirm that by just, looking up an online TV guide from that time period. But I'm thinking like mid 90s, maybe mid 90s. It seemed like the television focus seemed to shift from kids to teens, and that's when you started seeing, like, the Saved by the Bell type of stuff on a Saturday morning. And that I don't know why, because we're teenagers. I don't know. Were they a demographic that was more important to advertisers? I would think that kids would be, because they're going to be the ones that are, pushing for the toys that are affiliated with the cartoons. I mean, you're not getting any Saved by the Bell action figures, right? So I just remember, like, more teen style commercials and more teen shows on Saturday mornings in the mid 90s. With cartoons, really their only life seemed to be after school, in little, like, 2-hour blocks of time. There would be cartoons on, like, Fox, the Fox Kids and DuckTales and Tailspin and things like that. But that's getting into time periods that I have nothing good to say about. But man, oh man, do we miss our Saturday morning cartoons. And God, I could talk forever about them. I mean, they were such a part of my existence. And so much of the collection, so much of my interests, so much of the stuff is somehow affiliated with a cartoon. I mean, the majority of the stuff down here is affiliated with a cartoon of some kind. So it created a whole world. It was cartoons, it was toys. In some cases, it was movie spin-offs. I mean, it was Halloween costumes. It was food in some cases, all affiliated with cartoons. Everything. the T-shirts we wore, the folders and notebooks that we brought to school, the lunch boxes that we brought to school. Again, the majority of them affiliated with cartoons and the domino effect that cartoons had. Man, favorites, so many favorites. Muppet Babies is a huge favorite of mine. Just that I remember there was a block in like 87 or so where it was Muppet Babies, it was Popples, which was a really short run cartoon, and it was My Pet Monster, which was a short run cartoon. I really liked those. They just gave a good vibe. They gave me a good feeling. And when I think about them today, I still have that feeling. Pup Named Scooby-Doo, Flintstone Kids, loved those. Loved those as well. Just the good stuff. Pee-wee's Playhouse, of course, we've talked about that a few times on the channel, how difficult it is to watch today, but how I was, for some reason, glued to the TV back then. I was never a Transformers guy. I've said that before. I don't really remember G.I. Joe and He-Man being on Saturday mornings. I don't remember. I remember them either being more of a before school or an after school cartoon. In fact, we can take a look at what was on back in October of 1985, and we'll start with 6 a.m. and I'll just read a few. Starting at 6 a.m., we had something. Well, take that back. You had to go into cable. You had to have cable to get the cartoons at 6 a.m. on Saturday. But the local channels, the CBS, NBC, ABC, they started at 6:30 with Punky Brewster on what looks like Channel 5. I don't know where this is from. Channel 5 in this area is the NBC. So Punky Brewster, something called Boomerang, and something called Hot Fudge were all in the 6:30 block. Followed by the Bugs Bunny Looney Tunes Comedy Hour, Snorks, the cartoon Snorks, I do recall, of course. Berenstain Bears, Sesame Street, and Dennis the Menace were all cartoons on at 7 a.m. And then that, of course, leads into the Gummy Bears, Disney's Adventures of the Gummy Bears, the Wuzzles, and then we've got Ewoks, awesome. We've got the Smurfs, we've got Jim Henson's Muppet Babies. Then we go Droids, The Adventure of R2-D2 and C-3PO. So there's a little Star Wars block right there. You get Ewoks followed by Droids. Superpowers Team. I mean, just incredible. These are all like one after the next. 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. I actually have that upstairs. That was a little spin-off of Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo's Mystery Funhouse I'm not aware of. Alvin and the Chipmunks. We're up to 10:30 here, guys. And we got the Littles. We got the Mr. T cartoon at 11. We've still got cartoons at 11:30. We've got Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Now it's starting to narrow out because at noon we got wrestling. So right around noon the cartoons would stop. But obviously you remember, the Pac-Man cartoon, the Saturday Supercade, the Atari, Pole Position and Frogger and Donkey Kong. Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling. I mean, man, oh man, we could, the Super Mario Super Show, we could talk about this forever. And it was just I don't know. I can't capture it. I mean, it just represents some purity, just a pure time of innocence when we were just glued to our televisions with these lineups, and then we would get pumped up about the products that came from these particular cartoons. It was great. It was just great. I mean, I remember my favorite thing to do would actually, and I'm sure that many of you did this. Friday night, I would grab this thing here. And I would sit down with a notebook and I would map out my schedule for the morning, which is they were all the same. The cartoons were the same every every Saturday. I don't know why I didn't catch on to that, but I would plan my schedule for the morning, and I would probably start at 7. I would get up when the first cartoon aired, and had no problem doing it. It wasn't like if I would try to do that today, get up at 7 and just watch this marathon. And I'd definitely push it off to like 10 or 10:30. I wouldn't get up. But back then, no problem. Maybe the house was still asleep. Just get up. And as a kid, when you're the only one up, if you're 8 or 9 years old and you're the only one up in your house, it's an interesting feeling, right? It's unnatural. It might be a little scary, right? You got the whole house to yourself. Everybody's sleeping. You're making your way into the kitchen. What am I doing? I'm about to pour myself, a bowl of cereal. My mom's not up. I don't know what to do. This is crazy. And then, of course, sitting down and settling in for like a 4-hour chunk of cartoons and just sitting around enjoying it. The best. I mean, a time that cannot be recaptured. And my kids don't know what that is. My kids have no idea what that is. They cartoons, with the advent of, streaming and Netflix and honestly just, I don't want to say garbage like that, but, groundbreakers like that, for good or bad, groundbreakers. They have access to whatever they want, whenever they want. And I was watching some of the stuff that they were into, and it's, it's nowhere near, even in content, even in animation style, it's nowhere near what we had. I mean, our cartoons were storytelling. I mean, there was a plot, believe it or not. There was a purpose. There was an arc. There was a story arc to the cartoons. And the stuff that they are into today, it's just noises. They watch a show called Odd Bods, which is funny, but they don't speak. There's no story. It's just noises, and it's just like gag humor. It's poopy humor, right? And the kids laugh hysterically, and so do I. But it's it's not the same. When Liam was younger, there was a few things that we watched that almost felt like good old-fashioned Saturday morning cartoons. Curious George was one of them. Mickey Mouse Club was actually pretty good. The Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, that's what it was. The Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. That was kind of a storytelling cartoon. It was good. Doc McStuffins, Disney stuff like that sort of resembled 80s Saturday morning cartoons. Those 3 cartoons could have made their way to Saturday mornings. And so it's not the same. So they don't know. And I've tried to introduce them to some of my stuff. And some of it sticks and some of it doesn't. The Liam enjoys Scooby-Doo, and I've tried to get Finley into the He-Man cartoon, because I've tried getting him into the figures, and it's not grabbing him. Maybe we need to watch it more often. Because it's not an event. It's not an event. It's here. Let's sit down at 6:30 p.m. on a Wednesday and toss in the DVD of He-Man. It's not a thing, right? It's not a capturing event. These kids, we went to school all week, and Friday night came, and we had a lineup of shows that we would watch on Friday night, and we would get ready for Saturday morning cartoons. It was an event. It was only happening once a week. I wasn't 8 years old, 9 years old, going and grabbing, the VHS tape of my cartoons and watching them on a Thursday evening. Didn't exist, so you only got it Saturday mornings. And there was no DVR, and for all of us, there was no VCR. So you sat on your couch, in my case, on the floor, and you were present during Saturday mornings, or else you were going to miss the show. You weren't going to catch it later on that day on DVR. You weren't going to stream the episode later. You were going to sit there and watch the whole thing. And it was important. And it's gone. I I don't know. I think that's one of the most unfortunate losses. You know, one of the more unfortunate whatever happened to's, because it took a lot of childhood with it. You know, when Saturday morning cartoons went away, I think it prematurely ended a lot of childhoods. That's sad. But anyway, so what I'm doing is starting next Saturday morning. I'll probably get it up at about 8:30. You gotta go to the bathroom. All right, go pee. 8:30, 9 o'clock. Saturday morning will be the debut episode of the Saturday Morning Super Show, where I am down here hanging out with you, just like it was Saturday morning, 1985. We'll come down here in our jammies. We'll eat some breakfast cereal together. We'll watch a cartoon, or I'll watch a cartoon. We'll talk about it. It'll be a little bit deeper than the vintage horror night. We'll talk a little bit more about the cartoon. We'll talk about some of the toys that came from the cartoon. I'm going to be reviewing some cereal commercials. We'll show some cereal commercials during the episodes. All those cereal commercials, by the way, are courtesy of my man Smash Ventura. And that little whatever happened to intro quickie was also by my man Smash Ventura. So please go check him out, whether it's on the radio, whether it's on the YouTube archives, his old shows on YouTube. He's a genius, and he's not getting... He needs to be bigger than he is, man. And I remember a lot of you guys would say that to me back in the day. You know, you need more subscribers than you got. You know, back in the early days, and you know, Smash has been around, and he deserves the love. So go check him out. But we're gonna start that next Saturday, and maybe I can bring back a little Saturday morning joy with the as much as I can with the copyright restrictions here on YouTube. But anyway, so that's my little trip down memory lane. Another whatever happened to Saturday morning cartoons, man. R.I.P. One of the biggest losses of our generation, for sure. Maybe the biggest loss of our generation when it comes to stuff. So I think my battery's running out. I will see you all next time. Miss those cartoons. See you next Saturday morning. We'll bring them back. Good night now.